All right, so yeah, I think for anyone who has at least been able to watch my channel for like the past maybe 6 or 7 months or so, maybe even longer than that, you guys know that I've been heavily critical when it comes to AEW. And not to say that I haven't been critical of WWE either, because there have been moments where WWE's products, especially this year, where it's just been a complete mixed bag. There's been some good things, been a lot of bad things. It's just been a very weird year and a very divisive year for WWE and just the whole world of wrestling in general. But when it comes to AEW, I feel like when most people tell me that the product itself and the quality of everything that is going on in AEW gets better and better. I watch these shows and I'm like, is really anything different? Cause I'm watching Dynamite like last week when they did the whole 6th anniversary episode and even Title Tuesday tonight. And just watching these shows alone, I'm like, while these shows are not necessarily terrible and they have some good matches and decent enough storytelling building up to the next show, which is Wrestle Dream, overall, not much is happening. Like, Wrestle Dream has Darby Allin and John Moxley. They just announced there's going to be a tag team title match between Brodito and Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and Okada. And they had Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks for money, which I could care less about the whole money stipulation thing. I really hated that whole thing when they did in 2300 Arena, along with the All Star tag matches, which I'm pretty sure I talked about here on this channel. Which, if I haven't, though, I've talked about it on the Gorilla podcast, which I'll link them down in my Discord, or not Discord, my description. Sorry, it's late at night and I'm just saying all this, and I really am trying to put all this together before I head to bed and just try and relax and try and wake up the next morning and get ready for work. But I really need to get this video out because this video is mostly about the quality and the ratings, which has become a very big problem so far for AEW. Because when people continue to say that AEW Dynamite and Collision are these shows to watch, I watch the ratings and I watch the show after that, and I generally question, are people really caring? Because a lot of people are definitely not really caring as much for Raw and SmackDown, but that's pretty much apparent for SmackDown because SmackDown right now is not good. It's heavily panned. Like, it's the same thing and it's not really entertaining or anything at all. It's mostly just Road Dogg and it's really bad booking. While Raw has at least storylines going down that are at least entertaining, like with what happened on Raw last night, where you right now, by the time I pretty much end this video, probably be around midnight. Like, so it'll be around Wednesday or something. Like, you had Asuka and Kairi Sane with the whole story with Io and Rhea. That's great. I like what they did with the whole bloodline thing with Roman and the Usos. Um, I love what Lyra and Bailey are doing. I like the whole thing with LA Knight, CM Punk, and Jey Uso, and even the whole thing with AJ Styles saying it's not really much of a story. They'll tell it in the ring for his match against John Cena Crown Jewel. That was good. I like all that. My issue, though, is that when I'm seeing Raw be successful, when I'm seeing NXT be successful, and me SmackDown mostly just be somewhat ass, or actually mostly ass, I look at AEW and I'm like, it's not bad. The weekly product isn't terrible. It's just not engaging. And I think that's been the main apparent reason why a lot of people don't watch Dynamite, and especially Collision, because Collision to me is the same every single week. Like, I have not watched a single full episode of Collision since January of this year. And even then, the last time I watched a full episode of Collision was October 2023, like 2 months after CM Punk left. And that was the episode where MJF defended his world title against Kenny Omega. And I didn't watch any episode of Collision after that because majority of the time it felt like just a weak version of Dynamite to me, and it mostly felt like a show where nothing changed. It was just predictable matches with predictable outcomes. And it's really starting to become apparent with Collision itself because nothing really happens on this show. Like, you have the whole reunion of the Acclaim, which I could care less about that. I really was not enjoying the last few bit of what they did with the Acclaimed, and even then, I don't like them on their own, and I really don't like what they're doing, trying to pair them back together. Did anyone have a single thought that Anna Jay was going to beat Jamie Hayter. Like, did anyone really think that? And it's becoming apparent that Collision is a show that really nobody watches because the overall number was 238, which, yeah, is bad, but it started off at 59K, which that is a complete disaster. That should be pretty much warning AEW that Collision is not working because it's starting to get Rampage levels of terrible. But Dynamite is definitely the one show to me that I'm talking about because, my God, last week's episode of Dynamite, the 6th anniversary episode, got over 465 views. And I don't care about the max numbers, I'm caring about the TV numbers. So the ones who are watching on TBS. If that is the number you are getting for your overall weekly show, especially for a special show like this, the 6th anniversary since they had this whole debut of Dynamite in October of 2019, if that is the number you are getting, then that is fucking awful. That is truly embarrassing. But you know why I feel like they had the whole rating number? Because really, besides Andrade debuting, nothing, or coming back, nothing really happened. Really, nothing. Like, you had Hologram, the clone evil version of Hologram, which I really, again, could care less for. And that's kind of my main issue, again. It's not just the ratings, that I don't really care much for most things going on in AEW, like with the Don Callis family. They're adding in too many members, and a lot of the members I care too less for. I really don't care about guys like Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Wardlow, Rocky Romero, or even Okada with his poor booking to me, because a lot of them, to me, have received really poor booking to make me try and care about them. The only ones I really, I'm actually invested in are Kyle Fletcher, Takeshita, and even Hank Cesaro, mostly because of what Don Callis does in his introduction of him. But besides that, I mostly am watching just a faction that, while yes, has some great wrestlers, has too many wrestlers and too many members, and a lot of them will be overshadowed and will be left out of cards. They will not be booked. And I even forgot some of the people that I just mentioned, like with Andrade and even Josh Alexander, which I've been heavily critical of his booking on Discord to multiple people. I've really hated what they did from at the start of AEW when he first got to the company. And then, yeah, no, it wasn't just because he lost to Hangman. No, it was also because of the fact that for months and months, he wasn't doing jack shit. He wasn't doing anything. And it made me question why he signed to AEW in the first place. Now, I get, yes, obviously because of family, but if your booking is that terrible, at that point, I would question to the boss, what the hell are you doing with me? And that is my problem. It also becomes apparent when some of the champions to me don't really matter as much, like Hangman Adam Page. Hangman Adam Page definitely represents himself well as a champion, but the issue though is that he's mostly opening the show instead of closing the show. It's giving me heavy vibes when Swerve Strickland was world champion for like the first few months, where he was opening the show instead of closing it. And that was a problem for me. But another issue I've had is that it feels like most of the matches themselves aren't really anything unique or are mostly the exact same. Like when they were in the 2300 arena and every single collision had these all-star women's tag team matches where it was just the same woman going at it, it was boring and repetitive. It was ridiculous. And it was the same on Dynamite when they did it with the men. And even when they had a whole thing of having two women compete, or two women's matches specifically, like when you had Toni Storm and Sky Blue, I'm pretty sure. And then you had another women's match, I think it was like a tag team match. Like I think Riho and Alex Windsor versus Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura, I'm pretty sure. Even with those two matches, it still didn't feel big enough because literally the following collision was another all-star tag team match. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? And that's kind of my main issue. I feel like whenever I'm watching AEW, I'm watching things that are either the exact same thing, are not drawing people in, especially me, because I'm the one who's watching all of this and making this video about it, and telling you guys, should you watch Dynamite or Collision? Because again, I have stopped watching Collision for a long time because to me, it's a worse version of Dynamite. But if Dynamite's not being about as better as Collision, then that is an issue. And again, I had my own thing with WWE as well, but it's starting to become more apparent for AEW for me because a lot of people keep saying this is the product to watch. This is what you should be watching more than WWE. But when I'm watching all three brands, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, the brand that I pay attention to the most is NXT because NXT to me is engaging every single week. There's always something going on. While with Raw, it's somewhat. SmackDown, there's nothing, and AEW is also kind of nothing. And that's where it leads to this whole thing building up to Wrestle Dream because there really is nothing going on that makes me want to try and watch the pay-per-view. Now, I know it's going to deliver because they definitely deliver in terms of in-ring quality. But a lot of people don't really like some of those pay-per-views because overall, they deliver at that, but not the other main thing, which is storytelling. And that's where we're at right now when it comes to me. I know it sounds like I'm rambling at this point, but again, I want to keep it apparent to everyone. I'm not hating on AEW. I'm not hating on the direction they're trying to go because I will say they've gotten a lot better since the whole disaster with CM Punk and what they did after CM Punk left the company. My issue though is how they're going to go moving forward because people can continue to say that these are good wrestling shows, but if the viewership is going downhill every single week, then that's an issue. It proves that people can say this is good, but most people won't believe it. And that's where I'm kind of at the edge at. I'm kind of stuck in the middle, wondering if I want to watch Dynamite or not, because there's moments where I just generally don't care for watching Dynamite. Like tonight, I was watching NXT versus TNA a lot more than Title Tuesday because I couldn't care less for that show. I could try and just pay attention to it only if there was a commercial break. And even then, some of the matches themselves were, while good, drawn out for too long, besides the Kyle versus Kyle match. I felt like it was a little too short. But overall, I just think the one way they can fix it is do what I said in one of the podcasts, and that is book the women better. Thankfully, they're starting to actually kind of do that because they introduced the women's tag team titles, which definitely is a good move for them. But I'm hoping they could book it better, or actually do a good job with it, because WWE obviously has done a really bad job of booking those tag titles as well. So, but yeah, that's all I gotta say. I just want both companies to be better. Again, this is not me trying to be fully negative. It's just me criticizing. And criticizing can make things better when they fully listen and try and actually watch what we say as fans who are watching this product and paying tickets or paying all the money to watch ESPN or HBO Max or Netflix or even cable just to watch these shows. And that's what I want. I want good television. But most of the time when I'm watching AEW, I'm not getting that. So hopefully anyone from AEW is watching this. Hopefully step up your game. Because right now, I'm just not fully in it yet.